Well, hi guys and girls, Emma again. Welcome back to the new workshop, I guess. A lot of people now have done a video with the hashtag ShopMadeTools. John Creasy started that a little while ago, and it's taken a little while to get traction, but there's a lot of videos coming out now, so I thought maybe I'm going to make one too. And I posted a video. I'm making a camshaft for a little model engine that's a work in progress, and showed this particular tool that we made up. Thought maybe I'd do it in a more in-depth video about it, because I don't know if anyone's actually seen it all together. There was a few short videos and things. This box is just MDF. Got a couple of coats undercoat and a coat of yellow one shot on it, which is all I had. I like the yellow, but it's not a particularly good material to make a box out of because it still gets a bit fuzzy. It could do with this rub down another coat of yellow and probably a coat of clear and make a nice job of it, but hasn't happened. There's a leather strap that folds nice and flat with brass buttons in it, and it's got spare room machine shop stamped in it. A colleague at work made that. That's pretty useful thing for carrying it around. It's got a clasp on here, and it's just got basic hinges on the back. Now, this is my dividing head. I shout out to a few people as we go with this. I guess the first shout out is to JB from Oz, Marcus Wilson, for laser cutting these awesome polycarbonate dividing wheels and dividing plates. Everything goes in the box nicely. Everything fits in here pretty well. There's a drawbar for the collets. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And there's 2 holes for Allen keys, which haven't actually happened. I've got a big box of Allen keys. I should put them in there. The tailstock goes here. There's a clip for the spare dividing plates, and this sits in here nicely. So everything fits, and it's got a wire rope with a knob here and a knob here just to stop it opening too far, and a bit of trim down each corner just to strengthen it up. So a very good friend of mine many years ago gave me this basically a dividing spindle. It had a rough old spindle in it with a gear on it. Probably quite useful for some things, and a thread that may or may not have been good for putting a chuck on, if you knew what thread it was. But it's graduated here, and it's graduated around the bottom here. So it looked like it was quite useful for something. There was a knob, I think that's the original knob for it, tighten it up, which I renovated a bit. Maybe I made a new one of those. No, I think I renovated it. And stripped it down and put a coat of paint on it. But we made a spindle, and this is before I had thread cutting capabilities, so basically I bought it, and there's my 10mm collet. I've been looking for that for 2 days. Rats. Could have used that this week, but anyway, did it another way. Thought we must have had one somewhere. So there's the 10. This has been bored and faced here for Lorch 12.5mm collets. It's got a pin in it so that they don't turn. That locates on that keyway. And it's got a mark there so that we can get that in place nicely. And that just enables us to put this little short drawbar, which is actually a Lorch drawbar shortened up. And that screws in the back to tighten the collet. So it's got a 3D printed screw protector, and this is the same spindle nose thread here as my Lorch lathe. So I can put my Lorch chucks on here. I can put my little Sherline collet taper mount chucks on here. I can fit my big 3-jaw or my faceplate or anything else on here. So that's pretty useful. This is an appropriation, I guess, of the George Thomas dividing head parts. This gear and this one come from KH Gears in Japan. Their stock gears is a hardened and ground worm and a bronze worm wheel. And by doing that, and they weren't crazy expensive, but they're nice gears, all this can remain in one line, so that made it easy. Just made a little aluminium gusset or bracket in here with a screw to tighten it to give us our angle. And this screw here, if we have a look, has got a pin in it and a slot, a keyway in here, so you only need a spanner to tighten this up. So we can loose this off with one hand and reposition it if we need to. And this then just spins. We can lock that down here. This actually has got a fibre button in there to lock it, rather than scratch up the nice spindle that goes through here that I went to the trouble of making. It's got 2 lock nuts on here and a fine thread. And big thanks to John Creasy for threading this and making the nuts, and for threading this on here. Everything runs nice and true and concentric. It's really good. This is inch by inch 10, I think. Which, of course, being a German lathe, is what you would expect. No, it's a crazy system on most of it. So that just locates down in there. This has got a grub screw in here. We want to see how all this works. We need an Allen key. Got a huge box of spare Allen keys here, so we should find one that actually fits it. I'm sure there's 10 of them here. That's the right fitting for there, so we'll put that in the hole there where it belongs. Remember, we've actually got it. This was sort of suck it and see, and if I did it again, I might do it again differently. There's a few fiddly bits in here. This is spring loaded, and you turn it half a turn to hold it out, and it just pops back in the groove like that. So not ideal. I would really like to make or get a nice German made plastic knob for it, because I really like those, but this is all right. This piece was a lot of messing around. And it's actually soldered up. It's got a flat on one side that fits the shaft here. And this one unscrews. And if I made this again, I might make it the other way around, because it's a bit of a pain in the... But here's the quadrants with the locking screw. And the other plate. So this has got a hex on it to locate the dividing plate, just nicely like that. And that'll be probably the same Allen key fits that. Now this has just got a not a particularly sensible way to do this, but it's the only way it really worked. This has got a groove in here and there's a pin here, a hole for a pin. This grub screw has got a shoulder on the end of it, or a smooth turn spigot which fits in there just far enough, and when you put that in, that locates in that as well, and that holds everything together. And that's just a reamed hole in a block of steel basically. And it's just a nylock nut, which is easy. And this comes off here, and then this one's got a pin here. I think we can see that. And of course you've got to take this out to take that out. It all thought it just happened. And a keyhole to match the pin. So that fits in there like that. And then of course that can't turn. We can bolt that back on there and put this back on. Position that wherever we need. There's no bearings or anything here, it's just a plain shaft. I did set this up and machine the end of it to fit this, so I had to do that. And made this, bored it and slit it here so that it's a nice nice fit on there, so we can adjust this around too. And that's a pretty good, nice fit in there. It's been a bit of time getting that right. This is just pinned across here. It's got a, I think it's just got a straight pin in there, a bit of Loctite, holds it all in place. And that fits in there nicely like that. So put this one back in here. And of course, a bit of a messing around job to get this right. Get that one back in the hole so that won't come out. Push this one back through here. And that won't come out either, so that's pretty good. We can locate these back in here, put our lock screw back in. And we can put our plate back on. Then this one screws down in there and holds it in place. But we've got to remember to put the quad. Screws back out of here. Now I did make a plastic 3D print screw for this. Never goes 3D print spring for this. It was never much good, and I never got round to making a flat spring for it. So probably I need to get a bit of flat spring steel and make something for that at some point. But it really doesn't move a whole lot, and once you've got these locked together, it's easy enough to hold and move anyway. So this one with the flat goes in here, and it goes one way, and then this goes through here, and that's adjustable. We'll slide that backwards and forwards. And a little brass washer, and that last set screw in there to lock it all in place. So that all works pretty good. Can push this down in the hole quite comfortably and lock it, and there's not a lot of backlash in it. We lift it up and That locks nicely in the hole. Like so. Everything's located and nice. This really needs some work though, and I might upgrade this at some point. But apart from that, pretty good little dividing head. Not too shabby, I think. I'm really pleased with it, and it works nicely. So what else is in the box? This goes here like this. Now there's a couple of other shout outs on here, or a couple of the same actually. This is the tailstock, and I've done it this way because realistically we're running out of space on that table, on the mill. So really want something that's out flush with the end of the table as much as we possibly can. This has got a key in the bottom to locate it in the same plane as the dividing head. Now, John Creasy made most of this up, which was really nice, and I wasn't expecting that. He did offer to machine the spindle, and when he sent the spindle back, he sent all this too. This little, my design, but I don't know, maybe it could have been better. This little LS Starrett V-block was a present or a gift from Tom Lipton at Summer Bash 2017, something like that. Asked about that and he gave it to me. So John Creasy gave that a bit of a rub on the grinder, and put a slot in the back which locates in the back of this nice little V-block that he made. Slides up and down. Probably needs a jack under it at some point, but it hasn't happened yet, and it really hasn't needed it. There's a little bolt for that, which goes through the V-block, locates on there, and there's a John Creasy style knob to go on the back in brass. Which is excellent. This has got an adjuster in it. Right? We need another Allen key for that, which there was room for in the box. Is that the right one? That's the right one. Basically all that does is push that in and out, and then slide that up against there, so that if we do need to tighten up the centre, we can just push this out or back in. This, I believe, was made, and then he's said a couple of times don't put too much pressure on it, but it's plenty good enough. And if anyone's got a genuine Starrett one, I'd be very keen to have it, but it hasn't turned up yet. So anyway, that's the tailstock. That's my design and John Creasy's build and Tom Lipton's generosity, which I really appreciate. It's got a couple of little issues. One is that it's very difficult to keep clean because it fills up with dirt in there when you use it. But apart from that, really sweet bit of gear, and that's a good centre for the dividing head, and that just clamps down with a T-nut on the bottom. Two Allen keys. There is actually room for this collet and this drawbar in the box, but we'll put it back in the hole. We might take this collet out, put it over there, so next time we want it, we know where it is. hole for a small Allen key and a big Allen key, and that's all back in the box. So that's just a quick overtool. That's just a quick overlook of my dividing head and how it all went together. I wanted to use the Shopmade Tools hashtag. Go and have a look at some of the other videos that are actually listed under that too. Click on the hashtag in this video, or put in your search in. It was just a search window to find them. But I'm pretty pleased with that, and thanks to everyone who've contributed to it. It's really a bit of a task, and I'm not responsible for all of it, but certainly it's a very useful tool that's made quite a few years and other things as well, and very glad to have it. So anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. Be kind to each other, and more soon, guys and girls.